right, Travis Wingoodsell. Since today is the Feast of the Immaculate Conception for the Roman Catholic Church, I thought I would go over how it's been fulfilled. There's no need to celebrate it on the wrong day since we now know the correct day. In Revelation, we are given the star dates for this event, and it's why the Immaculate Conception is here and not 17 days later for Christmas birth. And so the Roman Catholics know Jesus was not born on Christmas, yet they still celebrate it. Interesting. But they do have a feast of the Nativity for September 8th. Let's see, chapter 12. Alright, so Revelation chapter 12. And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun. Is there anybody who honestly believes that this is a real woman with the sun? I hope not. I mean, we got flat earthers, dear God. And the moon under her feet, and a crown, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars. And she cried, travailing in birth, and pain to be delivered. So there's the conception. And then verse 5, and she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with the rod of iron. And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. There's the birth. So we have the two dates, and they're talked about in Revelation. Now, this is for the birth, specifically, but with every birth comes an impregnation. And so we have to then find that birth. And for me, I had found out about the total solar eclipse first to start the latter days, and then found out about the 23rd of September 2017, the birth, and then went, oh, there would have to be a conception, so I wonder how far back we need to go for the conception. Oh, sure enough, found it. And so the moon, we'll do that one first. It was a full moon, and it was a super full moon. On November 14th, 1 week later, after a certain election. And I've gone over this with you. There is no need for a Christ if there is no corruption of the theocracy. If everybody's good and well behaved, there is no need for a Savior. Savior sort of saves people from danger and corruption. I shouldn't have to talk about this. Just like I shouldn't have to say, well, if you're going to believe in Jesus, why aren't you going to believe in Perseus? Jesus flies on a white horse, just like Perseus did, but you're not going to believe Perseus? You're going to believe Jesus. You're going to pick and choose who you're going to believe in. Okay. And you're going to ignore that it was a sign in the heavens for the last day of the latter days. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about the conception and the birth. Specifically focusing on conception. And so it's called an Immaculate Conception because it's the heavens. It's signs in the heavens. So no, there is no impregnation going on up there. If you're going to believe Jesus over Perseus, okay, maybe. Anything's now possible if you're going to allow fantasy world to kick in. It is at the front leg of Taurus, the Apis bull. But it is at the back legs of Aries. Aries is the sacrificial ram, also known as a lamb, also known as a goat. It's small cattle in the actual wording. And so depending on which book you're referring to, whether it's a Greek text or the Hebrew text, they use the similar word meaning for the Greek word or for the Hebrew word. And so if you're unfamiliar with a ram being used for sacrifice in the Hebrew text, I refer you to Abraham sacrificing Isaac. Messenger appears, and a ram appears as well. And it can be a lamb as well. Interchangeable. And so, well, Last Supper of the Lamb. No. That's what he's referring to is the sign in the heavens. Jupiter will be, oops, I revealed the birth of Jesus. But again, you don't believe in Jupiter being real, you'd rather believe Jesus. And yet the Roman Catholics caught on, but they purposely screwed it up. And there's the Southern Taurids and the Northern Taurids going on, and it'll eventually get to the November Orionids that are going on. Where'd you go? Seriously? This was after and it... Alright, so... what was happening on the other side of the solar system? Or the other side of the sky on Earth? Well, you have Mercury, the messenger. He had just been at the top of the scales of Libra on the 7th, I believe. That's when the election was decided that year, 2016. November 14th, 2016. And so I wonder who Mercury would then be. But it's not Jesus, even though he said he was. I'm the chosen one. Oh my goodness. Hilarious. But the sun is now being judged in the scales, which is interesting because it's about to go dark with an eclipse in August 2017. And there's Jupiter. There's the Christ child. No, not Jesus. It's Jupiter. He is now entered into the womb of Virgo. And so for the next 10 months, this was a tough pregnancy. And Jupiter was retrograding in the womb of Virgo. And so then, on the 23rd of September, 2017, John the Revelator is right again as he... pull it up. Needs to be corrected. He puts God in the throne of the birth in verse 5. It needs to be moved up to verse 3. Because on the day of fulfillment, this the one? Yep, 23 September. Destination. There's Virgo, clothed with the sun, moon at her feet, 12 stars with the 3 additional planets of Mercury, Mars, and Venus, all lined up after Regis, the king star, on her head. And look, there he is, Saturn at Ophiuchus, the throne of God. He's actually in the fallen position, on the right knee rather than the left knee. But nobody could see this sign because the sun sort of brightens the sky so that we can't see the constellation stars or the planets and or the moon. And so it was like a thief in the night during the day. Very curious. And so yeah, the Roman Catholic Church has as their date for the Immaculate Conception as December 8th. Every single year, December 8th. The actual date for prophecy, according to John's revelation, is confirmed now because it already happened as the 14th of November 2016. And then after 10 months of pregnancy, hard labor, the woman gave birth. Emmanuel is born. And so, yeah, if you're going to believe Jesus is real because Constantine said so, and you're not going to believe Perseus, Hercules, Zeus, Apollo, Jupiter, Mars, Osiris, Horus, Marduk, if you're not going to believe any of those guys, you're not understanding your scriptures. Because we got a star date from John in Revelation. And the Roman Catholic Church knew it was a star date. And they knew that it wasn't Christmas when Jesus was born. And it isn't his actual birth either. It's the latter days. It's the start of the latter days. Which was last month. They have it was last month with Advent that is for the 30-day period until December 25th. It's referring to both the coming of Jesus and the second coming of Jesus. But September 8th, you can see how they were close. They did understand it's a sign in the heavens that's given here, that it had nothing to do with the actual birth date of Jesus. Because they knew it had to do with the future. Because John put it in there to muck it all up. So, yeah, that's the real meaning of the Immaculate Conception. Isn't that a bummer? So all those women telling jokes when they don't have a father, they just say, "Oh, you were immaculately conceived, my child." Like Jesus. That's why I named you Jesus or Joshua. Okay, Mormons, now that I've cleared up for you the whole Jesus messer splits, let's go into the Book of Mormon. 1 Nephi chapter 11. Alright, so, and it came to pass in verse 13 that I looked and beheld the great city of Jerusalem, and also other cities, and I beheld the city of Nazareth, and in the city of Nazareth I beheld a virgin, like Virgo, and she was exceedingly fair and white. Wow, that's impressive. They were pretty much dark-skinned. And if she were Greek or Roman, more in line with olive-skinned. And it came to pass that I saw the heavens open. Oh, there's a sign in the heavens? And an angel came down, stood before me, said unto me, Nephi, what beholdest thou? This is the 116 pages that had to be rewritten by Joseph Smith Sr., because Jr. lost them to Martin Harris. And then had to be babysat at the Whitmer home by Oliver Cowdery. I'm sure Oliver Cowdery was thrilled. At least he got a wife out of the deal for his trouble. And I said unto him, let's see, what beholdest thou? And I said unto him, a virgin, most beautiful and fair above all other virgins. And he said unto me, knowest thou the condescension of God? And I said unto him, I know that he loveth all his children, nevertheless I don't know the meaning of all things. And he said unto me, behold, the virgin whom thou seest is the mother of God. It's Son of God because of editors disregarding Joseph Smith Jr.'s counsel. Do not change this book. And Brigham Young did it anyway, after the manner of the flesh. So there was a couple of things going on here, and we have to refer back to Joseph Smith translation, which has Joseph Smith Sr. written all over it, even though Sidney Rigdon was being compensated for his work done for the Smiths. They put in verse 1, and there is a sign in heaven in the likeness of things on the earth. This is the merging of those two concepts. And thus, Senior was involved with the retranslation, called the revision. As he was the one who involved with the 116 pages rewritten. And so you see heavens open. That's your signal key to realize that this is a star date that's going to be discussed. And I've just gone over with you that it was the 23rd of September 2017 from Revelation 12. And Revelation 12 has the added part in the JST in the likeness of things on the earth. And so there's both going on here in this passage. And so it's a mortal man, mortal baby, mortal parents. No immaculate. The sign is immaculate. The likeness of things on the earth is mortal. And there was a space of time, and he beheld the virgin again, bearing a child in her arms. Oh, look at who he's called. He's the Lamb of God. Right? Because ram, as I've just gone over in this video yet again for you, it's little cattle. So, but he's specifically using lamb to refer to Revelation, speaking of him as ram, as they go on to say that the book of Revelation written by John, the apostle of the Lamb. So that's why they're using lamb. Even the Son of the Eternal Father, and then, like I said, it's Mother of the God. And so we have to refer to the original Book of Mormon. And so here we have the Jewish mystical part. Knowest thou the meaning of the tree which thy father saw? The tree of life, of Jewish mysticism, of Joseph Smith Sr.'s New Israelites in Vermont, is the love of God. Oh, Mary, in Egyptian. The Virgin Mary, Mary in Egyptian is love. Behold my beloved Son, in whom I am well pleased. Son of Mary, in whom I am well pleased. And oh, there's the iron rod that verse 5 in Revelation 12 talks about, which was moved to verse 3 because of the sign in the heavens on that day that I went over with you. So, tree of life, Mary, iron rod, the latter-day Christ. Isn't that great? What's interesting is fair and white is often misunderstood as racist. There's the birth of Mary that was not put in, which I don't understand why. It completely applies, because Joseph goes to the temple to buy her. And do we have to go over that again? I mean, who does he buy her from? Now, the birth of Jesus was on this wise, when, as his mother Mary was espoused to Joseph. How? They don't tell us, do they? But she's pregnant. How does she get pregnant? He just got espoused to her. What's going on? She's supposedly still a virgin as she's pregnant. So Mark starts with John the Baptist. James and John and lepers and blah blah blah. Luke, we got to go to verse 3, or chapter 3. Let's see the words. What is that? Nope, that's John. Is it 2? The child grew. That's John. Nope, it is Jesus. Let's see. The Spirit came into the temple when the parents brought in the child Jesus. Bethlehem. Here we go. Yeah, it's in Luke 2. Alright. Okay, so Kaiser, Augustus, world should be taxed, and this is inaccurate historical time framing, because that screws up Matthew's claim that it was prior to 7 BCE. Unto the city of David, which is it's called Bethlehem. That's Spica in Virgo. Taxed with his wife. So yeah, he doesn't talk about it here either. And Zacharias filled with Holy Ghost. Elisha's full name. Elizabeth's full name. Cousin. Oh, circumcised. That would be John, right? No child. Called the prophet of the highest. Highest? Highest what? Sun at noonday. So yeah, nothing here in Luke. Just Matthew. We'll go to John, our last hope. Bear witness of the light. What are you talking about light? For the law has been given by Moses, but grace and truth came by Jesus. So we screwed that one up, didn't you, John? This is different John. It's an author claiming to be John, because there was an author claiming to be John in Revelation. And yep, go right to John. So yeah, Matthew is it for this mysterious thing. And so that's why the text of the birth of Mary was written, is that she was a temple worker, brand new. So yes, she was a virgin going in, but that's to explain how she got impregnated by some mysterious thing, immaculately conceived, right? Yeah. All right, so remember that guy, the usurper, wrongly translated, let God prevail? Who stole the birthright and blessing from his brother Esau? Yeah, Jacob, and came Israel. Why did he get the new name Israel? Not so God can prevail. Yes, Esau was the wrong birthright blessing child. God needed to prevail, and so he gave it to Jacob. No! Yah, Prince of God. Jacob now was to have the lineage for the future Christ, whom Joseph Smith says is Mormon. You thought it was Jesus, and you don't believe Perseus flying on Pegasus, but you'll believe Jesus flying on Pegasus in Revelation 19. And so that's what actually was going on here in Genesis concerning all that stealing of the birthright. And what we have is Esau marrying a wife afterwards, and she's a Hittite. What's very cool is that the Hittites recorded on the stone walls of their temple ceremony, wearing the robes and all that. Real cool architecture. Writing, showing us their whole ritual. But she's named Judith. So I'm sure the author of this text isn't doing any kind of message to us through code. The daughter of Berai, and Bash-Emath, the daughter of Elon Musk, the Hittite. Yeah, they have a son named Sun God, the universal symbol of the sun, and then the R in Paleo-Hebrew. And so you can use either one as either the suffix determinative or the prefix determinative. Doesn't matter. It's sun god. Amen. Emmanuel. You should name his name Emmanuel. Isaiah. That's what Jacob did. He usurped that blessing and birthright to give birth to the future sun god. And here Esau names his wife Judith, and they have a son named Sun God. So what does Jacob do with his two wives? Because he was forced into slavery in order to have the one he wanted, Rachel. Well, he calls the first one son of Seir, or Seir's son, Reuben, and that's Peter in Egyptian for Seir. And that's more of the priestly version, whereas Almond is a composite of both. But then he names another son Judith. Judith, huh? Or not Judith, Judah. the masculine version, even though it has the feminine ending. Because Judith is the Egyptian feminine singular ending. In Hebrew, it would be the plural. Why is it plural here? Because of the author using that as the feminine singular. And so you can see the play on names that is going on by the authors. But this also, like I said, Judah, phonetically the same as Utah, because it's not a J sound. That's the Latin-based languages, European corruption, to call it J. Or the Spanish turned it into an H. They just all went their separate ways for phonemes, didn't they? But I've gone over with you that this is a prophecy of the Latter-day Christ, that the mother's name would be Judith, not Mary, because Mary is love. And yes, Utah, the betrayers, the brethren who betray their own Christ, because they think it's Jesus who's coming. They won't believe in Perseus flying on a horse, but they'll believe Jesus is flying on a horse. So, yeah, they're the Immaculate Conception for today.